Ukraine destroys Russia's ultra-rare A-60 laser jet and A-100 AWACS prototype in $1.2 billion strike. Today at 3:10 a.m., confirmation emerged that Ukrainian defense forces had executed one of their most strategically consequential deep strike operations of the year, an attack that destroyed two of Russia's rarest airborne platforms and inflicted an estimated $1.2 billion in cumulative losses, according to open-source assessments across research aircraft, production facilities, and supporting infrastructure. The sequence of events, verified through satellite imagery and open-source monitoring, demonstrated Ukraine's capacity to dismantle long-term Russian aviation programs and disrupt the Kremlin's preparations for future missile operations. By 3:15 a.m., analysts reviewing post-strike satellite images noted the first unmistakable sign of success: the extensive destruction of Russia's experimental A-60 aircraft, an Il-76-based platform carrying a prototype combat laser. The platform had long been regarded as one of Russia's most secretive aviation assets, used to test high-energy laser systems and sensor technologies. The image showed the aircraft consumed by fire, its fuselage split open, and its specialized housing for laser modules visibly collapsed. The strike effectively removed from service a platform that Russian engineers had spent decades attempting to refine, with the stated goal of developing an airborne laser capable of disabling satellites or intercepting missiles at high altitude. Minutes later, analysts reported the A100 was destroyed or severely damaged. Post-strike imagery indicates a burned airframe consistent with that type. This platform, built on the Il-76 frame, but modified with radar antenna supports over its wings and an additional surveillance antenna above the cockpit, served as a test rig for all systems intended for Russia's future A-100 Premier AWACS aircraft. Before the strike, satellite images showed the testbed positioned near the edge of the Taganrog repair facility, its specialized aerodynamic structures exposed but intact. After the strike, only a burned silhouette remained. This aircraft was not merely another airframe. It was the core experimental platform supporting Russia's attempt to develop a next-generation long-range radar detection system to replace the aging A-50 and A-50U fleet. Analysts emphasize that without the A100 Russia cannot properly calibrate, test, or finalize the avionics and radar modules required for the actual A100 aircraft. Because the program was already experiencing years of delays, the loss of the only testbed likely pushes the project from delayed toward cancellation, absent a replacement testbed. According to defense experts, Russia began the A100 Premier program in the 2000s with promises that the first aircraft would be delivered by 2016. Yet nearly a decade later, only the single test aircraft existed. Its destruction today signals a probable end to the entire program. By 4 a.m., attention shifted to the extent of damage inflicted on the broader Taganrog aircraft repair and production complex. Satellite imagery captured on November 25th showed large fires burning near the primary production halls of the Tant-K facility, a facility responsible for large-scale repair and modernization of strategic aviation, including models used frequently in Russian missile strikes against Ukraine. The hangars, workshops, and supporting buildings showed structural damage consistent with precision missile impacts. This facility played a critical role in overhauling Il-76 transports, A-50 airborne early warning aircraft, and other strategic aviation assets. Analysts assessed that disabling even part of its production capacity would reduce Russia's ability to sustain long-range aviation operations. By 4:30 a.m., Ukrainian military sources confirmed that the strike involved coordination between missile forces, artillery units, special operations forces, Navy coastal missile troops, and dedicated unmanned systems formations. The joint effort targeted key Russian strategic aviation infrastructure, including both the Tant-K repair plant and the Atlant facility responsible for producing Molniya UAVs, drone systems often used in saturation attacks. The strike sequence used a combination of jet-powered BARS UAVs, and Neptune cruise missiles, enabling a layered attack that bypassed local air defenses and overwhelmed the plant's protective perimeter. Today's strike followed a pattern observed throughout 2023 and 2024, during which Ukrainian forces successfully destroyed multiple A-50 aircraft, Russia's airborne radar backbone. By eliminating the A100 test platform, Ukraine effectively removed the only pathway Russia had to replace or modernize these AWACS systems. Defense analysts concluded that the attack not only inflicted physical damage, but may also have ended a decades-long Russian airborne radar development track. While the destruction at Taganrog marked the centerpiece of Ukraine's early morning operation, the day brought another significant development. Around 6:20 a.m., monitoring channels reported unusual long-range aviation activity in the Russian Far East. Over a short period, the number of Tu-22 M3 bombers landing at the Olenia airfield in the Murmansk region increased from 9 to 16. These aircraft, capable of carrying Kh-22 and Kh-32 supersonic cruise missiles, are strategic platforms designed for high-altitude strikes at speeds exceeding Mach 3. The redeployment raised immediate concerns because Olenia lies roughly 1,800 kilometers from Ukraine's borders, while the Tu-22 M3's combat radius extends to 2,410 kilometers. The move signaled preparations for a potential large-scale missile strike. Analysts assessed that these bombers could be retasked to launch Kh-22 or Kh-32 missiles, systems known for their speed, altitude, and destructive warheads, but also for their low accuracy when used against ground targets. Despite inaccuracy, their nearly 1-ton warheads make them capable of devastating wide areas, especially in urban environments. By 7 a.m., military observers recalled that before Operation Spiderweb in June 2025, which severely damaged Russia's fleet of strategic bombers, Tu-22 SM-3 aircraft were frequently used for strikes against Ukraine. After suffering major losses, Russia redeployed the surviving bombers to the Far East. They were used only once since then, on August 2nd, 2025, when a Kh-22 strike hit Mykolaiv, damaging several houses. The renewed movement of these aircraft back to Olenia suggested that Russia may be preparing to resume long-range missile attacks, prompting speculation that Ukraine could again target the bombers preemptively. As analysts reviewed the implications of the potential threat, they also highlighted the technical details of the weapons Russia might employ. The Kh-22 missile, first developed in the 1960s, is powered by a 2-mode liquid fuel engine and reaches speeds between Mach 3.5 and 4.6, traveling at altitudes above 22 kilometers. Its guidance combines inertial navigation with an active radar seeker optimized for maritime targets. However, when used in passive or non-maritime mode, its circular probable deviation can exceed 5 kilometers, making it a blunt but powerful tool. It carries an upgraded radar inertial guidance system resistant to jamming and includes radio command correction. Its development stalled multiple times after the collapse of the USSR, but resumed in the 2010s. It was officially adopted in 2016. The Kh-32 can perform high-altitude climbs before diving on targets at extended range, complicating interception efforts. By 8:10 a.m., the wider operational picture became clear. Ukraine's strike on Taganrog was not an isolated attack. It was a coordinated effort designed to degrade Russia's long-term airborne radar development, disrupt aircraft maintenance capacity, weaken drone production lines, and force Russia to commit long-range bombers into predictable bases where they could later be targeted. This multi-layered strategy aimed to reduce future missile threats while simultaneously eroding Russia's industrial and technological foundations. In the middle of the day, at 12:45 p.m., analysts assessed that the destruction of the A-60 and the A100 represented more than the elimination of isolated prototypes. Together, these losses potentially terminate Russia's attempt to develop next-generation airborne lasers and new AWACS aircraft. Because experimental programs require continuity, the absence of test beds forces engineers to restart years of calibration, modeling, and system integration. Without the A100 radar arrays cannot be validated. Without the A60, laser systems cannot be flight tested. Because both platforms are unique and extremely expensive to reproduce, Russia now faces the collapse of two major aviation projects simultaneously. By late evening, around 7:30 p.m., Ukrainian General Staff sources reaffirmed that the Taganrog strikes had been carried out using a combination of precision missiles and high-end unmanned platforms working in coordination. This reinforced the message that Ukraine has fully integrated its missile forces with its UAV and reconnaissance units, allowing for synchronized deep strike operations against strategic aviation infrastructure. The day concluded with analysts estimating that the total damage, including destroyed prototype aircraft, damaged production halls, lost radar development assets, and UAV manufacturing outputs, is estimated at approximately $1.2 billion, marking one of the most expensive single-day aviation setbacks Russia has faced since the beginning of the wider invasion. The events raise a critical strategic question. If Russia cannot rebuild its airborne radar and long-range aviation programs, how will it adapt to a conflict where Ukraine continues to expand precision strike capabilities and target depth? Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments section below.